My Edu family, and let me welcome you to another Analysis Thursday. By the way, this is last Analysis Thursday for the month of Jubilant July. And we have been focusing on the SEL theory, the social and emotional learning theory, and what it is that it involves. How can it be that as teachers we utilize it in our classrooms? And this week on Strategic Sunday, Mrs. Tamari Johnson Williams looked at how can we engage families and build communities and communication by using SEL. Of course, with us is our favorite analyzer for the month of Jubilant July. And he is Mr. Royston Tibby, the all-rounder at the Comfort Hall Primary and Infant School in Manchester. Mr. Tibby, let me welcome you for not the last time, but for the last time in the month of Jubilant July to our platform here on Strategic Educational Consultancy Services. Thank you so much, sir, for consenting for the month and for being here with us as we close out Jubilant July on SEL. Welcome.
Thank you. I must say, I had a wonderful month. I had a wonderful, well, 3 weeks, but still a month of July, Jubilant July. I must say, at first I was a bit timid, but then from the first week, and I realized that the information presented was very helpful to me and helpful for my colleagues. I said, "Come on, man, Tibi, you can do this," and I did it. And thank you very much for being a wonderful facilitator. Well,
You're most welcome, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so Mrs. Tamari Johnston Williams looked at engaging communities and families. I know that you are from a rural area where the students are from rural communities. So of course, they have limited access to certain things. From the presentation, how did you see this relating to your context? And further, how will it be that as educators, whether we're in the rural area or the urban areas, how will this help us as we look to refocus the students when they come to us in September?
Well, it's really, you hit the nail on the head, because basically when I was watching the presentation, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm saying some of these strategies that was explored when we were speaking about how we can engage families in the SEL, I was thinking that yes, it's all good and well when persons are what should I say now? They're acclimatized a certain way, right? They're grown a certain way. So normally in the rural schools, it would be different how some of the parents and how some of the students operate than in the urban areas, right? When I look at the presentation here, because I always screenshot and save some things from the presentations just to remember it. When I look at engaging families, it says teachers can help take the SEL beyond the classroom by communicating with students' families to encourage reinforcement of the SEL lessons at home. In a rural community, as a teacher, I'm telling you, we do these things, but we do them indirectly. We're not. There are a lot of times for myself too. I realize that I'm practicing the SEL, but I did not know that that's what I'm doing, because it was naturally out of empathy and out of just our knowledge as teachers to know that I need to engage the family, because we know that in the education system, we have the stakeholders, the students, the parents, the teachers, the community on a whole. We're all stakeholders. But a lot of the times, parents and persons tend to think that all the learning and all the growing of the children when they're at school belongs to the teacher. A lot of persons think that it's a 90-10 or even 99-1 ratio, but apparently they don't understand that it's 50-50. The teacher do their 50% and the parents do their 50%, then the whole and the community, they will find the extra 110, the extra 10% to put on it, if you get where I'm going with this. So for me, I'm in practicing the SEL in my school, because she looked at 5 ways in which we could do that, right? And one of the ways is ways to engage the families in SEL. It says first, to engage families in SEL, teachers shouldn't just send home to do this, but we need to create relationships with the families. For me, that has been a key for me, because ever since, even before the COVID pandemic, I started a WhatsApp group. And even at my school, I was the first one to implement the WhatsApp group for my parents, and the other teachers started taking it on. I realized that I got more help, I got more support from parents once I started the WhatsApp group, because what? They were able to interact with me, they were able to understand how their students were doing, they were able to explain to me some of the problems they're encountering with their students, and they explained to me some of the problems they were having at school, and how we looked at amicable ways to solve this, right? But when I
Right.
look at it also, this leads a further part now. For me, the parents and I, we speak about this, how to have the students prepare for school, which will come under
Right.
self-management. How to have them
Yes.
always understanding that it is your risk, that you have a responsibility in school. So therefore, guess what? You must ensure that your homework is done on time. That comes under self-management, right? When they display certain behaviors, and we can talk to the parents and say, here's what, mommy, here's what, daddy, your child is expressing, or is putting off some of these behaviors at school. These are some of the suggestions that I
Yeah.
can make as a teacher. What best can we do to teach the children at home, right? So I guess it gives a better collaboration between parents and teachers. The SEL program for me is very beneficial in to be taught to the parents.
Awesome. And Mr. Tibby, from our background, we are very well aware that the home and the school, they go hand in hand. And I would dare
Um,
put a little bit further to say the church. We know that the home, the church, the school, they play an integral role in the student's life. And when we look at SEL, we can look at the home, because if parents don't know what is expected of them, they cannot give to the student. And we're in a time in which, sadly, that we have young people or teenagers having children. And so
mhm.
the gentle care and the knowledge and the background that they need monitor their children effectively, they may not have that required skill set. But as you say, if as educators we try to pull them into what we do, you will find that they become open. And then too, the community plays an integral role. But then we
Very
know
much.
that there are many facets and factors that affect the community from being involved. When we were growing up, we knew that it took a village to raise a child. Now you cannot speak to a person's child on the road and expect a positive
Yes.
feedback in some cases. But then if we open the line to say, parents, each one reach one, we can't turn a blind
Mhm.
eye. If we pull them into the SEL theory, if we pull them into our classes, I believe that this is an avenue, because sometimes parents want to hear from us as teachers. And what we try to sell, for me, as a year supervisor, I try to sell to the parents the idea that, listen, if you don't know what is going on, and if you withdraw yourself from the child's life, how will the child manage him or herself throughout high school? You all you do is to just give them they have the money to come to school, but then when you call for PTA, when you call for parent conference, you are not there. When it is report day, you are not there. So you need to play an integral part in the child's life. And sometimes they realize, and you get more buy-in from them when you reach them at their level and when you incorporate all of this. So I do agree with you, and I do agree with Mrs. Johnson Williams. It was just an impactful and well thought out presentation as we look at, closing in the gaps that are existing for our students when we meet them in September. Do you have another point that you want to emphasize on? Go ahead.
Yes, because it was saying that how basically the whole point of her presentation was just to tell us as teachers how we can interact with the parents and how we can help the parents to practice the SEL at home. Because it's all good and well
Right.
when the students come to us at school and we teach them certain values. But the fact of the matter is, if a child is seeing violence at his or her home every day, and they come to school and we teach them a little love. Yes, at school they might show the little love, but when they go home, they forget everything, right? They forget everything because of the environment in which they were grown. Now it says, what can families do? And one of the things I look out, I saw in the presentation, which I was saying to myself that trust me, may have to go try this, because trust me, each week I realize I see something there that I can take back to my class, right? And it says one of the things I must help parents to focus on their child's strength. And we were children once, and we know, based on what I've learned, um, yeah, I know that we had strict parents when we were growing up. And one of the things with parents sometimes,
Yes.
when it comes to even the child's report, they hard to see when the parents might not see that the child got 50 in maths last year or last term, and then this term they get 155. The parents are gonna look and say, "Why? And this you still get, look here, you should have gone way up at 80, but the child got a 50, right? And he went 5 steps higher. First of all, look at it and say,
Yes.
honey, our son, daughter, I see where you made an improvement, right? And then I realize that you're a good science student, but you're not a good math student. I realize that you do well in language arts, which is good, and you don't do that well in maths. But you say, I'm glad, because when you do well in language arts, maybe you can become a nice public speaker, or you get what I'm saying. So you have to
Right.
focus on their strengths first. When the
Yes.
child see that you're interested in what they're interested in, then when they see that you're happy for their strength. For me, I grew up with my grandmother, and my grandmother was very primitive. However, she was very smart. There are times in primary school, when I was in primary school, I never liked math, hated math, loved science, hated math, right? And my grandmother used to
Mhm.
praise me for science. She used to overlook the maths, and she praised me for the science, praised me when I do everything good. And one day she looked at me and she said, "You're glad to see me pray, you feel good when me praise you over your science, don't?" And I say, "Yes, grandma." He said, "Then you'd feel good if me praise you over maths too." And I did, and I say, "Yes, grandma, but me I like maths." She said, "Then just like how you put the effort in science, put it in maths." And I did that, and that was a sort of
Right.
motivation. So parents would have to motivate their child in that way. Quickly, it says,
Yes.
use visual aids to help your child plan. Now, this is something I can
Right.
help my parents to do too, because the visual aid that goes into also again self-management, which is
Mm-hmm.
a big problem we have. I know, especially in high school and as my students in primary school, we know that the children have a problem in managing themselves, managing their time,
Yes.
how they do their work and carry themselves. And I know that having a plan, having one of the plan, the visual aid plan to help your child, that will do wonders for them. But one thing I have to point out here is, when, as parents, they need to ask the children about their feelings. It's not only we as the teachers must do that. As teachers, a lot of times, for me, I'm somebody who sit and talk with my children every day. So every day, me and them, because for me,
Right.
I have a good relationship with them. So what I do, me and them reason, as we say as teachers, right? And sometimes they have some things affecting them at home, and they come and tell me. And I say, tell your mother, or tell
Right.
your father, or somebody say, "Mommy, I go cuss me." First time, how dare us tell our parents what they plan with mind? They just tell me something and we have to go by it. But now we see, even in those days, things are even
Right.
different now. Things are very different now, because what we used to do when we were children, these children are more exposed, have more access to things in this world. And so if we as parents are not cognizant of the fact that we need to also take our children's feeling in, I mean, I say our life may have been.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah, but for me,
Yes.
my students at school, they're like my children, and we have to take their feelings into consideration also. So that's one way how it can be planned in the house. I have one more, but I'll give you a chance to reply.
Okay. That's very much important too, especially because, as you mentioned, things and times they have changed. And so what we used to do 5 years ago or 10 years ago to help our children, we find that we have to take a different approach to teaching them certain things. And two, technology has allowed overextending of the child's knowledge base, so they know,
Yeah.
have a better understanding of their rights their responsibilities. What is it that as a parent you are expected to do? And so when they don't see you step up to the plate and they see teacher doing it, it's going to be limited. It's only at school that it is being done. It needs to be done at home as well. So I would suggest in this forum that when we do our parent teachers meeting, whether it's school wide or on a grade level, that we factor some of this into how we can build social emotional learning theory. Because if we can start out by doing that, so PTA should not just be the place where they come to hear about the behavior of students, the school fees, or contribution to school or so on, but it should be a place where they come and they're upskilled with their skill set, so that they are better able to deal with the children that as educators we have to deal with. So you have a final point, you said?
Yes, just final too, because also as a teacher, I realize where Miss Johnson, right? That's her name again. Yes, Miss Johnson said in her presentation. Yes, Ms. Williams, she said in her presentation that there are two things I look at. It says, as parents, they must be willing to apologize, and they must also be encouraged helping and sharing. And for me, I realized that too, even as a child growing up, how it affected me when I wasn't even wrong and I got the blame. I got the blame a lot of times from mommy, from daddy, from my grandmother, especially who I grew with, God rest her soul. A lot of times there were things happening, like she misplaced something and she said, "I'm here, you one day, are you? And the fact of the matter is, I started crying because as a child, when somebody had to lie upon you, I can remember those things. So it used to hurt me. And then even when she find it now, I realize that she was the one who put it there. She would not even say sorry. Understand? And how it hurt me then.
Sorry.
Because imagine now, parents grow up with nowadays, parents don't think that they must tell their children sorry. And so the children at home, something might happen and they're not wrong, or especially with siblings, and to say sorry in some homes, some parents prefer some of the children more than others. So we have to be mindful that these are the things that are affecting them, and these things are affecting them, and they bring it to school, and it affects their academic performances. And sending the same parents them know when show them the love, now make them feel welcome, then try to find out what is happening. They are the same ones who buff the pit them, for want of a better word, and beat them and cuss them, call them workless. All of those things. So if we as teachers can help our parents too, to understand that they can do things differently, better parenting skills and all that, because the SEL does that. It opens the avenue to teach, to make us as teachers better persons, the students better persons, and to make the parents better persons. So for me, I'm really happy that you chose the SEL program to have me to be a part of this, the SEL theory, because trust me, I did a lot of theories at school, but I didn't remember this one. And it's very insightful. The last one was to teach our children to share. It says encourage helping and sharing. And I realize again, this generation is a bit more selfish. Remember, we are coming to school, we understood the importance of sharing. You're your friend, you have a friend at school, so if you don't have no lunch, you have to get lunch, no matter what. You shared and you loved each other. But nowadays, it seems as if all the parents are saying, no, it's all for yourself. If you notice in school, all for yourself and persons, and when you have something and the other don't have it, you look down on them and all of that. Those are some of the behaviors that we need to help our parents to help their children to change. So basically, the SEL program here for me, trust me, as I said, it was very, very insightful. I learned a lot from it, and there's a lot of takeaways from it that I can bring to implement in my school, that I can share with my colleagues, but especially to share with my parents and my students. Just by doing this presentation, just by viewing the presentations and coming on this platform talking to you, it has even made me feel better. And it has made me open my eyes to so many different ways in which I can improve my students and improve my classroom.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Tibby, for giving us such an insightful extension of what Mrs. Tamari Johnson Williams did for us for the month of Jubilant July. Indeed, for myself, I've learned a little bit more as it relates to incorporating SEL in the classroom, and especially how is it that we get families engaged and the community as well. This is very important. And so educators, as we close out the month of Jubilant July, we know you're on a break, but it is not too much for you to reflect on the year that was, and to reflect on and to position yourself for the new school year in having SEL be a part of what you do. Educators were called upon at a time like this to ensure that those whom we are given care over, that we do so to the best of our abilities. The Bible tells us, woe be unto teachers. So one of the occupations that was born to would be teachers. And that is because we leave an indelible mark on our students, whether it be positive or negative. But most important, let it be educators, that our mark on all our students in classrooms, wherever we meet them, that it be a positive one that will last them for a lifetime. Thank you once more, Mr. Tibby, for being our analyzer for the month of Jubilant July. And thank you to educators for tuning in always, your comment, your like, your share. We really appreciate it. In the month of August, we're looking at how is it that as school leaders, we can position ourselves for post-COVID, and what have we done to take care of the needs of our students. And so we'll have local principals and international principals sharing with us for the month of August. Until then, take care. I am Carla Boswell-Lewis, Director for Strategic Educational Consultancy Services, where my only mission is to empower you educators. And by empowering you, you will go and empower your students. Thank you so much.